All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gear Up Transition to College panel discussion. First, I would like to start off by sharing the mission of Gear Up. And to do that, I would like to share my screen. So our mission is to increase the number of West Virginia students, especially first-generation students, who are prepared to prepare them to enter and succeed in post-secondary education and career training programs. So I'd like to welcome you all to the panel, and I'd like to start off by sharing the purpose for our panel. So our panelists are all college professionals, and their job is to support students in Gear Up through their first year of college. And the purpose of our goals for this panel is to provide, for our panelists to provide insight on the following: set a realistic expectation of what life is like as a college student, gain practical resources to help navigate the changes that come with the college transition, and provide perspective and encouragement for students getting ready for the college transition process. With that, I would like to turn it over to our panelists and give them a chance to introduce themselves. Kara, let's start off with you, and then we'll go to Jennifer and then Sarah.
Hello, my name is Kara Plummer. I am a first-year academic advisor at Southern West Virginia Community and Technical College. I am actually housed at the Logan campus. We have the Williamson campus, Boone campus, Lincoln, Wyoming campus, and the Logan campus that we serve as students.
And Jennifer?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Henning, and I am the director for Gear Up at Marshall University, and it's housed under the Division of Student Affairs. And our program is much the same as the rest of the Gear Up programs, and we help students during their first year transition to college.
Great. And Sarah?
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Powell. I am the program coordinator for Gear Up at West Virginia University. I'm housed in the Office of Student Success, which is a branch of the Center for Learning, Advising, and Student Success. So I, like the other ones, work with the transition of the first year students from the Gear Up program.
Great. Thank you for those wonderful introductions. So I'd like to go ahead and start off our panel discussion with our first question. The transition to college can feel overwhelming at first between meeting new people, navigating campus, attending classes, and having more responsibility. Feeling overwhelmed or stressed is completely normal. Jennifer and Kara, can you please explain some common challenges first-year students tend to face and how they can navigate those challenges? Kara?
Sure. So I think the most common challenges that I see students face is that when they are overwhelmed, I see a lot of students who hesitate to ask for help. And so one of the things that I really would emphasize in overcoming some of these challenges and being able to navigate them is to know that you have to advocate for yourself and to ask for help when you feel like you need help. Because the people who work at the colleges can't help you if we don't know that it's happening. And so the other things that I would really encourage students to do is to go to events and help yourself in the social transition. And so I think what students will find is that everything that they go to may not be for them, but eventually they will find things that are for them, and it really helps to ease that transition process. And so the last thing that really I think students see as a challenge is the level of difficulty in college work. And so when you need help in terms of academics as well, it's really important for you to ask for that help and to use the resources that are available to you. And when you schedule those appointments, make sure that you show up for them prepared and ready to learn and work through the challenge that you're having.
I agree with Jennifer. The challenges that I see with first year students are, it is a big difference coming from high school and going to college. Learning to how to navigate the online Blackboard system that we have at our college for online classes can be challenging, but at our college, they offer plenty of workshops or sessions that help the students learn to navigate that system. And also, I've also had students come in my office where I sit down with them and I show them how to navigate it. It's very important not to get behind on your coursework. That's one of the challenges that I see. Students not stepping out of their comfort zone and going to these workshops, to get these trainings to help them to have a better, successful school year. Another one is the social transition. It is a little different. We have a smaller college, so it's not as busy. It's a very friendly environment, so students feel very welcome when they come into student services. But the other challenge is that I feel like students need to learn to do is to communicate. They need to be their advocate. They need to speak and make their appointments. They need to talk to financial aid. They need to come in and talk to me, the advisors, the academic advisors, their instructors. Communication's key with the first year to be successful through the first year or through college period.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those challenges. And now I'd like to move to our next question. Navigating campus can be an adjustment for many first-year students. Many students are used to staying in one building to attend their classes, and campus can look differently at every institution. Can you please describe the campus environment at each of your institutions? Sarah, let's start off with you and then go to Kara and then Jennifer.
Sure. So West Virginia University is kind of unique in its size and the way that it's laid out. So we have technically 3 academic campuses. The 2 main ones that you'll experience your first year are Evansdale and downtown. So because of the size, it's very unlikely that you will stay in one building for the majority of your classes. However, your advisor and orientation leaders to help you plan out your first semester's worth of classes. They work very hard at making sure that all of your classes, as much as possible, stay on one of those campuses. So they try to organize mostly a downtown schedule or mostly an Evansdale schedule. With residence halls, they are located on both campuses as well. So you might live on downtown but have classes on Evansdale. We have lots of transportation available, both public transit and the PRT available to transport you back and forth between campuses. And so that can be a little bit of a stress for new students, but it definitely takes some practice. And we have a lot of people who are willing to practice that with you.
Kara?
Okay. Our institution size is a little bit smaller than WVU or Marshall. We have several different campuses. We have the Logan, Boone, Williamson, Lincoln, and Wyoming campuses. We had probably a total of 13 to 1,400 students this spring semester, so it is a little bit smaller setting. We have online classes and classrooms that's seated classrooms, where the student will actually attend the class. We don't have residential halls. The campus, the students usually live with their parents or on their own, and they commute to the college. We don't have no resident halls or anything like that.
Great. And Jennifer?
So Marshall's campus is actually really easy to navigate once you get used to it. And the best advice that I can give students is that when you get to college, don't be afraid to get lost. it makes it a much easier process if you go into this with the mindset that you're not going to know where everything is, and that it's okay to stop and ask somebody how to find what you're looking for. And at Marshall, a lot of the navigational directions that you're going to get will begin with the fountain outside of the Memorial Student Center. And so the fountain really is kind of, and the Memorial Student Center is kind of the hub for a lot of things. And so if you walk out into that plaza, a lot of things are well within sight range of that fountain plaza. And so the end of campus that has the football field is also home to our recreational center and the dorm rooms. And as you navigate up towards the Memorial Student Center, you'll find a lot of the buildings that house classrooms, as well as the Student Center, where you can find a lot of the dining options in the bookstore, as well as Drinko Library, which has a lot of resources for students. And there are a lot of classes housed within some of the buildings that are along that path, as well as Pritchard Hall, which is situated right in the middle of campus, and it houses a lot of the student services, counseling center, and student health and things like that. So, it's not big, but it's not small either. And so once students really take the time to explore their surroundings, I think they'll find it very easy to navigate and to find the services that they're looking for. It just takes a little bit of time.
Great. Thank you so much for providing such vivid pictures of each of your campuses. With that being said, being a first-year student, it will be the first time these students will have to schedule their own courses. Can you please describe what the scheduling process might look like and how important it is for students to be involved in this process? Let's start off with Kira, and then we'll go to Jennifer and Sarah. In addition, can you please touch on what the online scheduling process will look like?
Okay. The way that I do it at my school, along with Leah, is we encourage the students to schedule appointments with us to be able to register for their courses, to complete their ISP plans for Gear Up. This way we can create an educational plan that they can follow for the 2 years that they're there. We recommend that the students take 15 credit hours per semester, which is 30 hours per year to stay on track to finish. How we're doing it right now with the COVID-19 is we are registering students over the phone, Zoom or Teams, Microsoft Teams. The students are contacting us, calling in, and we're able to register them over the phone or teach them to self-register for their classes. We have financial aids available by phone, student records. Everybody in our student services is available by phone and email. So right now it's going smoothly for us at Southern. It is different because we are used to being housed, on our campuses, in student services, and, we do have some online courses, but this has really been a transition for us, but so far it's working out good. So just basically making your appointment, getting with your academic advisor, starting an educational success plan, and staying on track for it. That's the most important things I can recommend to first-year freshmen for registering.
And Jennifer?
So at Marshall, when first-year students come in, they will attend new student orientation. And so at orientation, Marshall puts time built into that schedule for students to be allowed to meet with an advisor to do scheduling. And so the most important thing I think for students to remember is that when they get their schedule, to make sure that it has 15 credit hours per semester on that. And one, because it keeps you on track to graduate on time. It's the most efficient way to get through your college degree, but also because for certain scholarships, you may have to complete 15 credit hours per semester or 30 credit hours within 1 year. And so it's easiest to take 15 and 15 rather than 14 in one semester and 16 in the next, because it makes one more difficult than the other. And so the other thing that I would also tell students to do is that utilize the websites for your college, because a lot of them will have a page either for advising or under each college that will have, maybe it's labeled something like a program guide, maybe it's labeled a curriculum sheet, but a lot of programs and majors will have on the website an actual downloadable PDF form of the program guides that has a list of the classes that you'll have to take. And so you can begin to look through those classes and you can formulate questions before you ever get to orientation or to meet with your advisor, and get those questions answered while you're trying to get your class schedule figured out. So again, like everybody else, it's really important that you do meet with your advisor, but it also helps for you to spend some time really researching what's going to be required of you in your major, and to utilize the university or the college website to find those program guides to give you that outline of what's going to be required of you to be able to graduate.
Thank you. And last but not least, Sarah.
So very similar to what Jennifer was talking about with Marshall's plan of action for new student orientation. Within our NSO days at WVU, we also build in time by college or program to meet with an advisor in that program. So for example, if you are going into the engineering program, you will have time set aside to meet with an advisor in engineering to discuss what your plan for your first semester should be. Then you are assisted by an orientation leader, which is a current student at WVU and knows the ropes, to help navigate the Schedule Builder website, the STAR website, which is where you can find all of our courses, and to make sure that the plan that you came up with the advisor is what you actually end up registering for. On Schedule Builder, you can also look at the location of your classes, and it will tell you if it's going to be on that Evans-Taylor downtown location as well, so that you can get a glimpse of what your travel situation will be like through the semester. Obviously, this is going to a digital platform for this coming summer. So you will be meeting with an orientation leader on Zoom, and then also with an advisor on Zoom as well, to talk about what your classes will be for fall. It's looking like some of your classes might be pre-selected for you this time, but it will be degree pursuant. It will help you get to that 15 credit hour goal that WVU has in common with the other schools. Most of our first semester students end up with 16 credit hours, because the first year seminar is a 1 credit hour class that is tacked on to help orient you to the university and get you situated and get you familiar with all of the resources that are available to you. So that expectation of 15 or 16 credit hours is in place for us as well, and we'll make sure that you get there.
Wonderful. That's a great segue into our next question. We all know that college courses are different than high school courses. For example, the course size, the hours of instruction, and the assignments. Can you please describe a few of these differences? Sarah, let's start with you, and then Kara.
Sure. So one of the biggest adjustments for WVU students in particular is the size of the classes. So while it will not be the experience for every single one of your classes as an undergraduate student that you're in a lecture hall of 250 other kids, there will be a couple of experiences that you have in a classroom that size. So when you are immersed in a class size that's bigger than what you're used to in high school with maybe 25 to 30 students, it's important that you understand the value of self-advocacy. So you're going to be anonymous in some of these classes. The instructors might know your name, but they're not going to be able to put a face to a name always. So one of my most important recommendations for the first couple of weeks of classes is taking advantage of the instructor's office hours that are going to be listed on the syllabi and on their websites. And just saying, hey, this is who I am. I'm in this section of your class. It's very simple and it takes 5 minutes, but it can help establish a relationship in a class size that large, that when you do need help later on in the semester, it's that much easier for you to pop in and say, hey, we've met very briefly. I'm struggling with XYZ in your class. So it seems like a really minor thing to take time out of your day to track down a professor at the beginning of the semester when you've got all this other stuff going on. But it's really valuable and it can pay off later down the road. With coursework, we will talk a little bit about that and another question as far as prioritization. But again, just chunking out those assignments ahead of time, a lot of it will be self-directed. You're going to have to figure out the amount of work that you have to do throughout the course of a week or 2 weeks in order to be prepared for an exam or a project. So chunking that out in an appropriate amount of time ahead of time and being able to ask questions in an appropriate amount of time will help you out a lot, as opposed to waiting until the night before something is due and trying to email your professor and expect a constructive answer in response to that. So for the sake of the success of your assignments, just being aware of what work you have to do ahead of time will be huge.
Great.
Yeah, I agree with Sarah. Our course sizes, our classrooms are very small. It's probably going to be similar to your high school experience, 25 to 30, maybe at the most. Your anatomy classes may have a little bit more, and if you get accepted into like the nursing program will hold more students. I would say 50 to 100 students. So it's not that overwhelming. It's still kind of similar to the high school setting. The professors will give you their information on their syllabi. I agree with Sarah. You need to look at that. You need to learn what times they're in their offices, and you need to communicate with them if you have any questions. I know with our college, the instructors encourage the students to schedule a meeting, an appointment, or to email them or communicate through our Blackboard program. Our instructors are very welcoming. They, when you're on campus, you see them eating lunch with the students out in the commons area. It's just a real laid-back setting, first-name basis where our classrooms are small. So one of the things I would like to recommend as far as the coursework and assignments are not to procrastinate. When you get your assignments, make you a plan, a calendar for that week. Make out some time for yourself to complete those assignments. Also make some time to have some downtime, because having that downtime is very good to keep you refreshed and motivated for your year. Just really trying not to put off your assignments, trying to stay on task. If you have trouble with any of the assignments, you need to reach out to the instructors. We have tutors. So tutoring is awesome in our learning studio. They're in there all day long. They will help students with any questions. So it's just really being an advocate for yourself and going and communicating with the people that you need to is the most important thing.
Great. And before we move on to our next question, could one of you please share what office hours are and what a course syllabi is? Sarah, do you want to do that?
Sure. So a course syllabus will give an overview of what to expect in the class. So it will have the days and times that you are physically meeting in person. It will have the instructor's information, so their email address, their office number if they have one, the times that they're in their office, or the times that they recommend you schedule an appointment with them. Maybe some tutoring resources that are attached to the class as well. And it will have the resources that you need to be successful in the class, such as textbooks, online resources, things that you may need to purchase. And then it will also have the assignments for each week, the due dates for major assignments, and typically some directions for those major assignments. So if you have a paper due as a midterm, it will usually have the due date listed for that paper, the page numbers that it's expected to be, and what you're supposed to cover. It's kind of a SparkNotes version of what to look forward to for the class.
And office hours?
So yeah, and office hours are pretty much self-explanatory. It is when an instructor is supposed to be in their office available for walk-in appointments. So instructors wear a lot of different hats, especially if they're full faculty members. They might be doing research more, they might be doing more community service that semester, they might be teaching more. So there are a lot of different places doing a lot of different things. But the expectation is that they set a certain number of hours a week where they will be definitely in their office and available. So obviously email is always an option to get in touch with them. But like I said before, the accessibility of actually being able to go and shake their hand or introduce yourself or talk to them in person to get something clarified is super valuable. So being able to track them down in person during that guaranteed 4 or 5 hours a week is something that you are going to want to take advantage of.
Awesome, thank you so much. So going off of what we said before, college is an adjustment from the coursework to the new environment and to having new responsibilities. Jennifer and Sarah, can you please share what academic and support resources are available for students and why is it important to take advantage of these resources early on? Jennifer?
Sure. So there are a lot of resources that are available to students, and the majority of them are free. First of all, let me put that out there. So tutoring is a big one for students, especially when you start to navigate the challenges that come along with the difficulty level of transitioning from high school level work to college level work. And so tutoring is a big resource for students. And it's very important that you start that early on, because if you get behind on your assignments, and a lot of things in college classes will build, and so the information works as sort of a hierarchy. And so if you don't grasp the concepts from the beginning, then it becomes more difficult as you move through the class to be able to catch up. And so if you find yourself struggling in a class, it's really important for you to take advantage of the free tutoring resources that are there for you. You may also find things like writing labs. I know at Marshall we have the Writing Center. That may have a different title at other institutions, but for the most part, they have somebody dedicated to helping you write the college papers, because those are going to be something that you have to do no matter which route you choose to pursue. And so there are other resources also, like counseling services, and like Sarah was talking about, professors' office hours, because students seem to do better in classes as they begin to connect with those who they are interacting with the most. And so the other one that I really want to point out also is disability services. So if you have a disability, especially with needing accommodations, it's very important that you begin to reach out to disability services to establish the need for accommodations early. There is some documentation that's probably going to be required for you to turn into that office, and it takes students some time to get all of those things turned in. And so it's definitely something that if you feel like you're going to have a need for those accommodations, that maybe you address that when you go to new student orientation and you start that process early. The other resource that I really want to point out too is that at Marshall, and I know that at some other places, they have mentoring programs for students that are really important. So at Marshall, we have what's called the FAM program, and so it's a friend at Marshall. And this is somebody that's going to reach out to you frequently throughout your first year. It is another student at Marshall, and so it's somebody that really knows the ropes and really knows how to help you adjust to this, and it's somebody that you can go and ask questions to. It's a totally judgment-free zone. And I have personally met a lot of the students who have served as FAM mentors, and they're really wonderful people, and they really genuinely want to see you succeed. And so I think it's really important that students take advantage of all of those different programs, and your inbox for your email is going to be flooded with, hey, I'm this person and I'm that person. And so just make sure that you pay attention to that in your email. And when you get those emails that are reaching out to you to help support you as you transition, make sure you respond to those, because as you begin to take advantage of all of those resources and to utilize those resources, I think that the feeling of being overwhelmed will subside as you begin to get comfortable on how to navigate through all of these resources. And there are a lot of people who are there and willing and really want to help you do that.
And Sarah, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, just a little bit to echo what Jennifer said. Like she said, we have so many people here who are willing and ready and want to help and support you. So I will just briefly touch on some similar resources that we have at WVU. As I said before, my office is housed within the Office of Student Success, and within our office, we offer success coaching, which is a graduate assistant that can help you with study skills, time management, test anxiety, making a study plan, understanding prioritization. It's really just someone to kind of help you figure out this new role of college student. So that is a really, really excellent resource that kind of gets slept on sometimes. Some first year seminar classes require you to meet with them, but if your class does not, it's still something that you want to check out. We also house the tutoring services, which are based on academic resource centers on both campuses in the library. So the ARC in the downtown library and an ARC in the Evansdale library. There are, again, like Jennifer said at Marshall, these are all free services. So walk-in appointments, or you can schedule appointments ahead of time, all available. We do have the Career Center for Student Counseling Services. Again, you have free appointments available as a WVU student. If there is something that you want to take your friend with to, they're great. They offer group counseling opportunities as well. We also have an Office of Accessibility Services, so similar to the resource that Jennifer spoke about. If you received accommodations or modifications of any kind in high school, it's worth checking out to see if you're eligible for similar accommodations at the college level. So that is something to get in touch with them immediately. Like she said, it takes a couple weeks for that to get through, and you have to make your instructors aware of that. It is nobody's job but your own to make sure you communicate those needs and expectations with each instructor on an individual basis. So that is something that you want to get started from day one. We also have the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, which has a branch of one of the branches is the LGBTQ Resource Center as well. So that is a growing resource center that we have, that if that is a community that you are a part of and you need extra support in that realm, then that's available to you as well. So again, like we've said in other questions, it's important to kind of establish these relationships and skill sets and habits early on, so that you are able to maintain some progress instead of being forced to kind of recover or rescue grades or resources later on.
Wonderful. So thank you for sharing all those wonderful resources. Throughout this discussion, we have focused heavily on academics, so I thought it might be nice to change it up a little bit. And with the understanding that receiving a degree is the most important reason students choose to continue their education, college also offers the chance to grow and meet new people outside the classroom. Kara and Sarah, can you please share how students can become involved on campus? And Kara, go for it.
Okay, one of the things that our students, can get involved in is the Student Association, the SGA. The SGA is very important at our college. They provide a lot of different things for the students. They may have certain days where they give out free pizza or cupcakes or ice cream, or they kind of put all these little social gatherings together to get everybody on campus interacting. So it's a really good thing to check into. I try to strongly encourage freshmen to try to run for to be a freshman representative. This year I was pretty proud. We had a few first year students that got involved with that. Another organization we have is the National Society of Leadership and Success. You have to be invited to that, but that is a very good organization that we have going on at campus, where the students get together and they're able to work in small groups with each other to create plans, and it allows them the time to interact with other students. We have, the new student orientation on campus, which is this summer is still in the works. So they're going to have it, I think, August the 13th at our campus, at the Logan campus. And this is a good time where students will get to meet and interact with other students. We have special guest speakers throughout the school year, so this is a really good time to go hang out with your classmates. They have open mic nights with music and poetry. We try to encourage students to apply for work study, which they can help us. The students can work in student services, the library, and the business office, several different places throughout the campus, and they could be some volunteer activities as well.
Great. Thank you. So it sounds like there are plenty of opportunities to keep students busy on campus. Going off of that, we know that college is a busy time where students juggle many things such as school, work, and other leisure activities. Can you provide any advice on how students can manage all of these competing interests and how to get it all done? Jennifer, let's start with you, and then Sarah.
Sure. So I think that the most important thing for students to do as they enter college is to utilize a schedule. And so whether you are someone who has to write things down, or whether you're someone who chooses to use a digital format for that, like the calendar on your phone or on your laptop, I think it's important to sit down and add all of your responsibilities into one place. So for some students, they may buy a planner or an agenda, and they may go through and list the times and the days that they have classes or if you join a student organization and they meet at the same time every week, that's also something that you want to add to that schedule. And so what I always tell students to do also is to make sure that you build in dedicated and specific study hours into that schedule, because it's going to make it easier for you to see at a glance what your week looks like so that you can plan that out and so that things don't creep up on you at the last minute. And so when you write all of those things down or you put them all on your phone, if you use the digital versions of the calendars, then you want to make sure that you're setting reminders for those things so that you're reminded either 24 hours before if it's an assignment, or maybe you even set it to remind you a week before the assignment is due. Or that you're reminded of when you're supposed to be studying and when you're supposed to be doing other things that are a responsibility for you. And so I think that it's going to be extremely important for students to find a schedule and to really try to stick to that, because it creates a sense of normalcy in a time that you feel very overwhelmed. And so just as equally important is for you to set aside time to do things specifically for you. So whether it's going to the events on campus and the activities, or sporting events if your institution has those, or whether it's maybe you're an introverted person who really just needs their own quiet time. It's really important for you to integrate things that are uniquely for you in that schedule as well.
And Sarah?
Yeah, so I will just elaborate on a little bit of what Jennifer said. Like she said, building in academics and social time, that's both important. So what I advise my students to go by is an 8-8-8 rule. So 8 hours a day for schoolwork, 8 hours a day for yourself, and 8 hours for sleep. That's pretty reasonable when you think of a 24-hour day. And you also have to keep in mind that being a college student is now your full-time job. So when you enter the workforce in whatever way, shape, or form, whether that be out of high school or out of a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, when you get a job, the expectation is generally about 40 hours a week. So that's 8 hours every weekday. So that's what the kind of general expectation is for a college student, since this is your full-time job. So whatever schedule that ends up looking like for you, if you're a morning person and you build that around the morning times, or if you have classes in the mornings, great. Or if you're a night owl, however that shakes out is great. But that 8-8-8 rule is a really good place to start in making sure that you get all of your schoolwork done and still have weekends free for yourself to take part in those campus events or sporting events. As you know, WVU has all the sporting events. So you're going to want to have your work done to not feel guilty about attending those events. So the philosophy that I generally share with my students is that Cinderella always gets to go to the ball if she gets her chores done. So if you have all of your work done ahead of time, then whatever the ball looks like for you, then great, go for it.
Awesome. Well, I think we have time for one more question, and I would like to end this panel on a celebratory note. As we said before, your journey to college can be exciting, nerve-wracking, and overwhelming. With that being said, what words of encouragement can you offer to incoming college students who have taken the steps to continue their education? Kara, can you please start us off, and then we'll go to Sarah and Jennifer.
Yes. First of all, I would like to say congratulations, because this is a big step going into college. You should be very proud of yourself. I know that it can be very overwhelming and nerve-wracking, but you can do it. This is the first step to the rest of your life. I always try to encourage my students, and I always tell them, your education is something that you can take from you. It's something that you've worked hard for, you've earned it, it's yours. So my advice is to set your goals and go after them, achieve them.
Great. And Sarah?
Definitely a big congratulations. So it's definitely a nerve-wracking newness, and it will take a little bit of adjustment, and it will take you a couple of weeks to find your groove and feel out your new normal. But that in and of itself is normal. And so we are just also excited when we get a new incoming freshman class to support you guys in whatever way. So just take advantage of the resources, like I said early on. And like Kara said, this education is something that anybody can take from you. So making the most of every single moment that you have here at WVU or at any of the other institutions is going to be so rewarding if you do it well.
And Jennifer?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, just like everyone else said, first of all, congratulations. This is a big step. It's a very exciting step. And so some of the advice that I have is, that it's going to be what you make of it. And so, the encouraging piece of this is that you can do this, and it's something that you have to go into it with a mindset that you can overcome the challenges that are coming at you, and that you know that you need to ask for help, and that, with a mindset going into this, that this is your place and that you've earned this, and that it is something that you can accomplish, that you go into this knowing that you can succeed at this, and that through resources like what we're doing now and watching, the webinars and all of the resources that are kind of put out there for all of our students, we really hope that you come into this with the mindset that you're going to be successful and that you're going to overcome all of the challenges and things like that. And, I hope that you know that when you step foot on a college campus in West Virginia, it's something that is really something you should be proud of, and that the people who work in our colleges and our universities are truly excited to see you there. And we really want to see you get to the finish line with this.
Alrighty, so before we conclude our panel for today, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to our panelists for taking the time to share all of this wonderful information for all of our students out there who are preparing to take those next steps to continue their education. And lastly, I would like to share our contact information with everyone out there so they can reach out to us if they have any other questions. Great. So please feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions. In addition, please feel free to visit our Gear Up website, which is wvgearup.org, as well as CFWV. All of these websites house many resources that are great for transitioning to college, as well as other educational resources. Like everyone said, we are all here to help you. So please feel free to use us. And congratulations, and we're rooting for you. And this is a big step, so we can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you.